Alrighty guys, and welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at the shrine yet again for another week. Okay, so we're looking at something here called Detective's Hunch, which is a teachable unlocked from Detective Tap. Shocker, Detective Tap's first name is actually David, therefore they named him Detective Tap in Dead by Daylight. That way they wouldn't have a name overlay alongside David King. Little fun fact for you. Moving on to the next perk, we got Strider. Strider is a nurse teachable unlocked at level 30. I'm pretty comfortable to say Detective Hunch is unlocked at level 35 and Stakeout's level 40. This is a teachable unlocked by the Doctor. It's Modern Abuse. It's a very good teachable. It's unlocked at level 40. And we're looking at Technician, which is an absolute horrid teachable unlocked by Feng Min at level 30. Now, straight away looking at the shrine, it's not bad, but it's not great, okay? So instantly I'm going to go straight and highly recommend Modern Abuse out of everything, but let's go through perk to perk. Detective's Hunch, what does it do? Basically, when you complete a generator, all auras for chests, all auras for other jennies, totems, killers' belongings being bear traps, hooks, everything is revealed to you for 10 seconds when you complete a jenny within 32 meters, within 48 meters, and then I believe within either 62 or 68 meters. So, keeping in mind, Detective's Hunch works really well if you're going to be running it alongside with a map. So if you're choosing to run a map with this, and then you can show your show your teammates, it'll actually make a map track killer belongings. And it'll also make a map track all these kind of details which you can pass on to your team. Rather than running a rainbow map, you can get away with running some simplistic add-ons here, and it's going to pump it out. It's going to be really good for you. However, it's going to require a map. It's going to require you doing a jenny in the center of the board, and then you're going to understand split pressure throughout the board. It's not bad, but sacrificing this, you're missing out on something very important, maybe borrowed time, etc. Not 100% sure. If we're going to be moving on to the next perk here real quick, I'd probably give this about a 6 out of 10 personally. Moving on to the next one, we're looking at Strider. Strider is a teachable unlocked from the nurse. It is a direct counter to Iron Will. Iron Will means when a survivor is injured, they take an initial cry of pain when they are hit, then they are silent for the duration of how long they are injured, being the entire rest of the match. Therefore, they will not make a cry of pain. However, talking about Bill, for example, I refer to Bill as a one-man band. Bill makes a cry of pain, Bill makes a breathing sound, Bill makes a puff of smoke, and Bill makes movement sounds. Therefore, 4 sound indicators, so I refer to him as a one-man band. A normal survivor generally doesn't have like an effect like Bill smoking. However, they will still make movement sounds, they'll still make a cry of pain, and they'll still obviously leave scratch marks, etc., as well as breathing. This does increase how loud you breathe. However, breathing can be hard to understand. Once you understand tracking, you're going to be able to hear if survivor moves anywhere within about 8-10 meters, walking through grass, dirt, pavement, tiles, cement, wooden floorboards, above, below. You can hear all these sounds. When a survivor gets in a locker, they breathe in, real shallow, sharp breath, like, and then when they get out, you can hear that and you can go, cool, he got out of a locker above me to the right-hand side because I heard him breathe out and I heard the wooden floorboard when he stepped on it coming out of it. So you can just hear those things and know exactly where people are with enough tracking and experience in Dead by Daylight. Moving on to the next perk, Modern Abuse. Modern Abuse is the better version of Shadowborn. Shadowborn is a teachable unlocked by the Wraith at level 40. However, you're going to get much more value out of running Modern Abuse. What does Modern Abuse do over Shadowborn? They both increase your field of view so you can see more of the screen. So if you don't know what field of view generally stands for, basically if there's something in the middle of your screen, you're going to be able to see it from wider, therefore it'll look further away. It'll also look like you're moving faster, but you'll be able to see more on your screen, and it clears up a little bit of the fog that you see as well. Fog still affects him, don't get me wrong, but it just makes the game look a little bit more polished rather than that tiny bit of a dull, dim vision. It also reduces your heartbeat by 8 meters. I want to point something very important out. A normal killer, let's talk about the Trapper, for example. The Trapper moves at 115% movement speed, takes 15 seconds to build Bloodlust, therefore he'll be moving at 120, then an additional 15 and 15 seconds to get 2.5, so therefore it'll put him up again and again, and his heartbeat will stay at 32 meters, but his movement will go up to 125%. Right, heartbeat for a Trapper is always 32 meters. If he runs Modern Abuse, his heartbeat will then become 24 meters because it reduces your heartbeat by 8 meters. Initiating a chase will then increase your heartbeat back up to 30 meters. Ending a chase will then close it down. Much like agitation, when you pick somebody up with agitation, your heartbeat gets further as well by 8 meters as well, I believe. Pointing out the heartbeat of the Trapper, it is a 32 meter heartbeat. With Modern Abuse, it's a 24-meter heartbeat. You cannot run the same perk more than once. It does not stack with Shadowborn. If you have a read of it, Field of View does not stack. If you were running Modern Abuse twice and reducing your heartbeat by 16 meters, halving it, that would be the heartbeat of Michael Myers in Stage 2. Michael Myers can also run the Modern Abuse. So he has a 16-meter heartbeat. With Modern Abuse, he has an 8-meter heartbeat, moving at 115% movement speed. He, by default, has a 0-meter heartbeat in Tier 1. In Tier 2, he has a 16-meter. Now it's getting down to the 8-meter. If you run an add-on called the Dead Rabbit, it reduces your heartbeat by 25% while in Tier 2, and increases it by 25% while in Tier 3. 25% of 8 is 2, therefore you have a 6-meter heartbeat. But without add-ons, you have an 8-meter heartbeat. In Tier 3, you'll have a 24-meter heartbeat. So this just shows you how beneficial and powerful this perk is on Michael Myers. Technically, if we're getting real here, he has Modern Abuse and Modern Abuse plus 4 perks. And if you run Modern Abuse again, you're pretty much stacking it times 3. You can also stack with other things that reduce heartbeat, such as the Calm add-ons on the Doctor in its current state. However, it just goes to show you Modern Abuse is a very prized possession on Michael Myers alongside Bamboozled. You should never run both, but you should always consider running one. You don't need to, but it's very, very beneficial coming around a corner at 115% movement speed, ready to pop Tier 3 and instant down to Survivor because you know he's there on Discordance and there's multiple targets so you can initiate 2 chases at once. It just shows you the value you're going to get out of that perk. It is huge, phenomenal, and that is highly why I recommend buying Modern Abuse out of the Shrine, out of everything else. Strider is a cute perk, allowing breathing and cries of pain to be louder. However, it is a teachable unlock by the nurse at level 30. It should cost you about 800,000 blood points to get to level 30. I don't recommend it because you can just unlock it by leveling up the nurse. That also being said, Modern Abuse is a good perk on a lot of killers. Sometimes it'll help people with field of view. It does not reduce lullaby sounds, okay? It won't reduce Freddy's lullaby, it won't reduce Huntress's lullaby, right? It will always stay. It will reduce their heartbeat. Very rarely will you see Freddy with a heartbeat because generally you're asleep and he doesn't have a heartbeat in there, therefore countering borrowed time. Anyways, Modern Abuse, it's a Doctor DLC perk that comes with Feng Min. I highly recommend buying this perk out of the Shrine. Moving on to the next perk, we're looking at Technician. Technician is a teachable unlocked by Feng Min. When you miss a skill check at Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3, if you were to land outside of it, a generator explodes, giving the killer a notification. With Technician, if you were to miss a skill check, you come back, you have a 30, 40, and 50% chance that you don't make a sound and the Jenny doesn't explode. It won't give the killer a notification. You will also be working on a generator 8 meters quieter. Even though a killer walking past, he won't hear the initial clicking or the clanking of somebody turning a cog on a generator, but he will still hear the Jenny chugging, so he'll know to come over. Useless perk, in my personal opinion. I'd say just practice your skill checks. Don't worry about it. Ruin's not going to be much of a thing anymore anyways, so you can just land goods if you're finding it really hard to land greats. All in all, guys, that's going to be this week's Shrine. Detective's Hunch, I personally wouldn't buy it. It's very specific to be running a map. I don't recommend it. Strider, I'd unlock by leveling up the nurse, or I don't need it at all. It can be good on killers like the Spirit that really use sound to track. It's also good on the nurse as well. It's good on most killers. We're looking at Technician, a bit of a dud, but I would highly recommend Modern Abuse. If you're a Survivor main, I'd still highly recommend Modern Abuse. If you just bought the game, I'd recommend Modern Abuse as long as you know you're going to play enough to get enough shards in case Barbecue and Chili will be on the Shrine next week. As you can see, it is 2,000 shards, and I can't afford anything because I don't have enough shards because I haven't played on this account enough this week. Alrighty guys, that's going to be all for this week's Shrine video, guys. If you learned something, that is awesome. Let me know in the comments down below. If you guys want to pop over to the live streams where I stream Dead by Daylight 5 days a week on Twitch, don't hesitate to come on over. You can maybe learn a thing or two, or you can help me teach people that don't know the game fully. All in all, guys, I will see you in the fog or in the next video. Thank you for watching.